Hola, hola. It's your girl Erica from America. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles podcast. This podcast is all about helping you stand in who you are. Stop giving a fuck what people think about you. Start standing as your fully expressed self. As you are, as is, there is no filter needed. You are fucking awesome, and I am here to remind you. I'm a confidence coach, and I'm a bold stand for confidence, and I cannot wait to dig into today's episode with you. My friends, welcome back to the podcast. I am extremely excited to present you my guest for today, Marlee Liss. She has the most extraordinary story. It's one of my favorite episodes that I've done as an interview, I have to say. I cried many times. This is about a woman who was sexually assaulted. And not only was she sexually assaulted, but went through everything she went through, had the support of her mother. It was 3 years until the case was finally reconciled. And she was the first case ever in North America to reconcile with restorative justice. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. We're going to go through it in depth in this episode. But basically, it was a humane way that her and her accuser got to meet and reconcile what happened for the both of them. And you don't hear about that. And she shares a lot about how difficult it was for her, why she chose to do this, you know, her team and who supported her and the flack that she got for choosing to do this. It is the most incredible story because you don't get to see this side of things. And the fact that it's the first case ever in North America, the first one to finish with restorative justice, speaks a lot about this young woman, her story, her heart, her compassion levels. She's been on every publication you can imagine, on television, on the media. Her story is blowing up. I am honored to be able to share it with you. I know this is going to serve all of you, especially those of you like myself who've had sexual abuse or sexual trauma. I cannot wait for you to meet her virtually, for you to hear her story. And I also want to recommend that if you enjoy this, that you tag her on Insta, tag me, check out all the links in the show notes so that you can connect with her if you feel moved by this story as much as I did. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. I am so happy to have you here today, girl. Oh my gosh, Marlee Liss. I am like smiling from ear to ear right now, you guys, because I can't wait for you to hear this incredible woman's story, because it is a story that you wouldn't normally hear. We normally don't see this level of awareness, this level of compassion, this level of healing. It is fucking incredible. So when we heard about your story, we're like, oh my gosh, especially with my audience, because I talk a lot about sexual abuse. I talk a lot about healing your story. And so I am so damn excited that you exist and so happy that you are here all the way from Canada in the house. So welcome to the podcast.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to share. It feels really great.
Yeah, we're excited to have you, girl. Okay, so for everybody out there listening, tell us a little bit about your story, and maybe before we go into how it all happened, but what your story is and what you do now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the super summary version is that not so long ago, like this past fall, my sexual assault case became the first in North America to conclude with restorative justice through the legal system. So this means that instead of going to criminal trial, I fought for my assailant to go to therapy. And then we met in an 8-hour, essentially a healing circle. And now I've founded this organization. I do sacred sensual coaching with women. I love this line on your site is something about our traumas become our triumphs. And that's very much how I feel.
Wow. So you do coaching after this experience. When did you have this sexual assault experience?
Yeah. So in 2016, I was raped by a stranger. I think I definitely have had a lot of blurry non-consensual experiences, those hookup culture experiences we've really normalized. There's alcohol and we're like, I don't know, it's blurry.
Yeah.
And I think I just kind of pushed a lot of those to the side, but this one was like very extreme and undeniable. It lasted 4 hours. And I think a really key piece of it is that like every so often he would be like, I'm so sorry, this is so fucked up. And he'd like stop for a second and then continue. So it was this really confusing process for me of like, oh, wait, like, are you, like, you have feelings? And then you're doing that while you have feelings? Like, huh? Yeah.
How old are you at the time?
I was 21.
Wow. And so you didn't know this person. It just...
Yeah, I didn't know him at all. It was like a club experience. I think because there's alcohol involved, I like struggled a lot with self-blame for sure. He actually like for real coincidentally lived in the same building as my friend I was supposed to sleep at, which is like wild in Toronto, like Toronto, big city. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I love this because of the story, not about the sexual abuse, but the fact that a lot of women, a lot of men, a lot of us humans experience things with, you know, what did you call him before? Your accuser, or what is it that you?
Yeah. I usually just say assailant.
Assailant, yep. That. So like with an assailant, and it's usually like they're the bad guy, they're the villain, they need to be, you know, punished forever. There's no forgiveness, and culturally, society-wise. And I was watching your Rehumanize video, which is so beautiful. So we're gonna pop all the links in the show notes so you guys can go watch it, because it was just made so beautiful. You look amazing, and it's gorgeous, and it's just really an amazing story to listen to in video form. You know, I'm very visual. I love me some videos. And I love what you said. It was just like the ability to forgive and the ability to see someone as a human. So I have all the questions for you. Initially, so this happened. Was this like your first experience like this, like with, you know, assault to this extreme?
Yeah, it definitely was. Like I said, like there was some blurry, definitely looking back with like the consent education I have now. Wait a second, that wasn't consensual, but this was like quite extreme. Like I said no so many times, he covered mouth and like continued, and just like kept going, and this kind of like this like full out thing. So it was my first experience that like opened the floodgates of everything I hadn't grieved for. It was like my big like feel everything. A big thing for me. So
can you remember, take us to after, what, like, where did you go? What did you do? Who did you tell? How were you after that?
So I like ran out. I was totally frozen. Like I just completely froze. And when I realized that it was getting light outside, that's kind of when I like, cause it was night when this happened, and it lasted so long that it started getting light out. And I like, that kind of threw me back into the present. And I was like, holy shit, I don't want to like wake up here. I need to get out of here. So I went back to my place. I was living with roommates, like college, a bunch of other students. And I remember standing outside my roommate's door, and she's like my dear, dear, like sacred sister still. But I remember standing outside her door, like about to knock for like 20 minutes. And it was this moment of like, I'm either going to knock now or I'm not going to say anything ever. Like I knew that. I was like, I either tell her now or I don't think I'll tell anyone. And so eventually I knocked, and then she was amazing. We literally Googled, what do you do after being raped, which is like ridiculous. And we went to the hospital to get a rape kit done because that's what it said to do. The nurses were understaffed, so they said, don't shower, don't change, come back in 24 hours. And I had like on me, like, oh
my gosh, wow.
And I don't think that's like uncommon, unfortunately. But when I did go back, I did a rape kit, which was like really, really hard experience, although the nurse was really beautiful. She like cried with me. It was kind of sweet.
Oh, that's amazing. What an angel.
She really was.
Yeah, you get guided in these moments. It's like,
and I feel that with that knock, like, then basically they were like, okay, like the nurse was like, do you want to report or not? And that was kind of my only options. And I didn't want nothing. Like, I was like, I don't want nothing. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll report. I didn't really know what that meant, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, I can just keep going.
Yeah, please. I'm like on the edge of my seat here. Yeah, and obviously you've talked about this a lot. So, and you've like, to all of you out there listening, like, you know, I don't like to give trigger warnings because I feel like life doesn't have a trigger warning. You know, we need to be able to be with what is. And these are the stories that, you know, I'm delving into, like child sex trafficking with another guest that I'm going to have soon. And I'm like, ooh, it's hard to hear. And sexual abuse is hard to hear, especially if we have trauma and things that we have unresolved. But I honor you so much because I can see and hear and feel you, and that you've really done the work with this and that you continue to do the work with this. And so I really honor you for the depth of your honesty. And to those of you listening, like, wow, it's so easy for her to talk about it. Like, I talk about my husband's death and like, it's like nothing, but I'm sure you have, I mean, you've been on all the media channels, Forbes, you know, on television, Mel Robbins, and you've talked about it so much. So if you're out there listening and you're like, wow, how is she so brave? Like, she's going to talk about her work after this, but like, I just want to let you know that it does not come easy to someone like you, and that you've worked it. And so I really honor you for speaking so openly and bravely about this. So thank you. So yes, tell us everything.
And definitely, like, you'll hear in my story, like, it was not an easy, like, brush that off my shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was immensely hard. Yeah, I appreciate that permission to like speak so openly too. I'm just like, okay, good. I can say anything. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much like I reported after that, and that was such a surreal experience too, because they're supposed to be like formal, like they're supposed to be neutral because they don't want to seem like they're taking a side, the police. So they're like very formal and like neutral when you're in this like really intense emotional state, which is just weird. And then they ask these insane questions. Like literally they asked me, how many thrusts per minute? And I'm like, who knows that? Who knows that? So that it was really hard. Like the whole reporting process was hard from the beginning. And pretty much after that, I went home and I just focused on surviving. Like that's like what you were speaking about. Like my body was going crazy, and like my tendency in the past was to minimize everything and be like, you know, it wasn't that bad. But even if I tried to do that, my body would literally break out in hives, or I would like have a panic attack, or I would be shaking, and it was just like this undeniable experience. So yeah, I was very guided in going to therapy like a week after this happened. I've always been like my whole chart is like fire. So I'm quite like, boom, time to do this thing. But yeah, I started writing a lot. Like I started just writing and just focusing on surviving. And I wasn't giving that much thought to the justice system. It actually kind of felt like an inconvenience, like getting in the way of my healing process.
Did you get an opportunity after they said, do you want to report it? Did they kind of explain what that was going to mean? Like you'd have to see him again or interact? Like, did they tell you anything what that would be like?
Yeah, they definitely don't. Like, I actually want to write an article about how the punitive process is like, ironically, the least consensual thing in the world. They don't, you're so in the dark. Like, you're so in the dark. You have no like legal support. You have no awareness or heads up of what this will entail. So like little did I know I had signed up for a 3-year process that would include like trials and photo lineups and detective interviews, and like all of my friends, like this was so shitty. Like this guy that I had hooked up with like a week before became super involved because like his DNA was like in me still. So they were like, okay, he's now going to be a witness on the stand. And like, it was so like, it was like this casual hookup. And I was like, ugh. And like 3 years later, he was like, okay, I got subpoenaed to be a witness. And I'm like, oh my God, like I did not. And things they say to you are when it comes time for a trial, if it gets to that point, for me, I did a preliminary trial. They say like, you're not allowed to skip any questions, no matter how uncomfortable they make you. Otherwise, you're seen as non-cooperative and you could get charged.
We need another podcast about the justice system, girl. Oh my gosh. Wow. So this, like, just hearing this really, I don't know if this confirms, but I'd love your opinion on it. Like, why so many women just go, I mean, obviously there's the shame that they don't even want to say anything, but the ones that, you know, decide to say something, like, how do you feel like, do you feel like this impacts that? Because that sounds full on. That sounds like re-traumatization, like disregard, sterile environment. It just sounds horrible.
Yeah, I would go as far to say that the punitive system is abusive. You know, like, it's just the last thing anyone who has survived trauma needs. And that's really like where my whole thing comes from, is like, why are we living in a world where the justice system is like hindering healing? Like, it's detrimental to a survivor. Like, it should be complementary. It should amplify the healing. Like, that's the world I want to live in. And that's like, yeah, been a big drive for me.
It's great because obviously these reasons, and we talk about it a lot, and you talk about it in your work, is like, this is why we move through what we move through, because now you've created this amazing thing. And although it's horrible what happened, there finds a gift in the shit, as I say, right? Like the big pile of poo has a gift. It's really messy to get up in there, but like, it's so amazing because you've created something out of a lack of what wasn't there for you. Did you, I know your mom's involved in the Rehumanize movement as well. Because I got 2 boys, 2 babies, and I can't imagine anything happen like that to my kids. So how did you end up speaking to your mom about it, and how did she get involved in supporting you and creating this movement?
Yeah, powerful question. She's amazing. I just want to say she's amazing.
Yeah.
I was so afraid to tell her, and I hear this narrative a lot with people because I knew it would hurt her so much.
Yeah.
I actually told my brother and asked him to tell her, because I was like, I can't do it. And then I told her, like, I can't see you for a few days because, like, I just can't. And I don't even remember this because I was in such a like trauma state, but apparently I like reached out to her and said, hey, like, can you come like down and visit me? I'm not feeling well today. Like, can we just focus on the fact that I'm not feeling well? And I like didn't want us to talk about this.
Yeah.
She's just like love. She's just love. Like, she's just has so much love. And yeah, we actually like lead women's retreats together now. We lead retreats, and this was really powerful because this sent me on like the biggest descent and the biggest rising journey, and it sent her on that as well. Like, this blew her world open. Like, she started questioning, what does it mean to be a woman? She started reflecting on her past relationships, on like all of our experiences. Now she's like a Reiki practitioner.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, she was in this circle, like this healing circle. She was there. So yeah, I'm like, oh, so friggin' grateful for her.
Wow. That is so powerful. So I feel like you and your mom need a podcast as well. Honestly, because to hear that side of things, because we see all this stuff on Instagram, like when you heal yourself, you heal your mother and vice versa. But like, this is this story in action, and her being able to hold space for you, allowing her to go back to her past. And, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine how incredible a retreat with you and your mom would be. I can't wait till we can have in-person events again, because that would just change the world. So how long did this whole process from this happening to you, and then you ending up being in therapy with this person who sexually assaulted you, like, how long was that process? And obviously there was change in that. You were healing and shifting things during that time.
Yeah, I'm not even the same. Like, I feel like I was born when I was 21 in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was already kind of on this, I was already on a healing path. Like before this happened, a week before this rape happened, I had been living on an ashram for the divine feminine for 3 months.
Wow.
I was like 21 and it was like me and all these women who were like 60 and up. And I was like, wow, women are amazing. And it happened like a week after that. And I was studying social work as well. So I was already like kind of focused on this healing path. But this like changed my whole world. And I am like so friggin' grateful for every part of my journey. It took, so between this actual rape and the like healing circle that happened, it was 3 years. And like, so it took 2 years to get to a preliminary trial. And in that time, I was very much focused on surviving. Like I said, like I was like definitely having like severe trauma response. I wanted to take my life at one point. Like I really did not want to live in a world where we were hurting. Like I felt that love had lost on the planet. And Trump was elected like a month after this happened. And I was just like, love has lost. And I just like could not fathom it. I was like, I can't, that's not the world I want to be in. So I was very much focused on healing. I went to therapy, I went to different healers. I started going to retreats led by an Indigenous elder, this amazing grandmother that I now like assist her on her retreats, all about the sacred womb. And she's like epic woman. Yeah, she's really cool. And yeah, so there was like a lot. I did my yoga teacher training. Like I was just like, I was kind of like, I mean, it was very do or die for me. The healing was very do or die at that point.
So you would say there was like a period of just like really feeling lost and not having that drive, obviously from what happened. And then was there a point where it was like, okay, now I need to, almost like a moment of, okay, I want to be here. What do I need to do? Like, can you think of a point, or was it kind of just moments on moments?
Yeah. So there's a few moments that were really powerful. And then there was also a lot of moments. And I feel like, so from the very beginning, my devastation was like, fuck, like there's no love on this planet, or like there should be more and there's not. And I said to people like, and I didn't know restorative justice existed at all. And I said to like my close friends and family, if this was my world, we would just friggin' sit down together as humans and like cry and grieve and like figure out what the hell happened and like humanize each other. That's what I wanted. And I wanted him to heal. I was like, I don't know what happened in his life, but I want him to like break that cycle of violence.
That's incredible. I'm just thinking about the people out there that this has happened to, and the anger and the frustration, and it takes such an amazing mind and soul that you have. And I'm thinking about the women out there who don't feel like this and are angry and are, pissed off and resentful and the injustice, and they're feeling that rage. Do you have any words for them right now if they're listening and they're going, what? Like, he raped you? How could you feel like that? Because I hear you, but it's like, what do you say to people that are like, I don't understand that. Like, are you on another planet? Like, he did wrong. Like, even I'm saying those people that don't get it. So just what could we say to them if they're listening?
Totally. So something I always say is like, I really feel emotions can coexist. And by no means was I like a saintly woman dressed in white. And after this happened, I was like, like, let's sit together. Namaste. Like, that wasn't what it was like. It was more like I needed to sit down with him. Like, I was so in grief and devastated by someone being able to do that, to violate another person, that I was like, something needs to friggin' change. And it felt like, it's like hard to, it felt like love would be the thing that would change that. It felt like actual healing would be the thing that would change that. So in a way, I'm like, I was so mad that I justified this like very different thing based in healing, if that makes sense. I punched a wall at one point. Like I was like feeling all the feelings. I'm definitely not denying that. So yeah, I think at some point it's like, we know this in like social movements and stuff, like rage is the thing that drives change.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was for me. Like I was so mad and devastated that I was like, something friggin' big has to be changed in the world.
I love that. I love that you're like emotions can coexist because it isn't one or the other, right? We're multi-feeling, multi-dimensional, and yeah. Okay. So you felt that you took some time with that, and you obviously wanted to create this conversation in your head with this person. Did it feel like it was just you dreaming, wishing, or was it like, hey, this can actually happen? Did you, before you knew that that was a thing, how did you find restorative justice?
Yeah, so I've thought I was totally delusional to think that. And like a narrative I definitely received a lot in my life before was like, your head's in the clouds. Like, it's not how the world works. But now I'm like, haha, like now
Yes.
it is.
I created this.
So I didn't know it existed for a long time. It wasn't until last winter that I got subpoenaed for the criminal trial. So basically I did the preliminary trial, which is a way of seeing if there's enough evidence to go to like the big trial. Preliminary trial sucked. I was on the stand for like 5 hours getting asked the most ridiculous questions. In some ways I was like very empowered because I didn't think I was capable of it. And then I did it, and that was empowering. But other than that, I was like, this sucks. And it brought me right back to where I was, like right after the trauma, even though I'd done so much healing. So another year later, which is just last winter, when I got subpoenaed for the criminal trial, I was like, I think I'm just going to drop the charges. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then this was like the big moment. It's like I told a friend, and her son is actually incarcerated. So there was this powerful aspect of this. I told her, I think I'm just going to drop the charges. And like one more time I said, but in my dream world, it would look like this. And she was like, so make it happen. And it just like, I describe it as like, I feel like I got pregnant with spirit's idea at that point. Like spirit was like, boom, like,
yes, girl.
Impregnated with this like giant idea. And I was like, huh? Like make it happen. And it just like set me off. I started researching. I remembered that I had met a woman when I was traveling in Portugal. Because one of the things I did for myself in my healing was that I like walked up the coast of Portugal and Spain, which is very epic.
Wow.
I met this woman in Portugal, and she was from Germany, and she mentioned that like sometimes they do the justice system differently there, like something like that. And so when my friend said make it happen, I thought of her. I reached out to her. She said research restorative justice. I put in my Instagram story, does anyone know anything about restorative justice? And that's how I got connected with this amazing lawyer, Jeff Carolyn. And then from there, we met up, and me and this lawyer, and we said, let's call a meeting with the prosecutors, which we call crown attorneys here. And we got together to discuss what would we say to them. And we like got on the same page. And then we walked to this meeting. They had no idea what we were going to say. And when we got to the meeting, there was 2 prosecutors there because one of them was handing off the case to the other. And basically I was like, I don't want to go to trial. I want to do restorative justice. And this is so like, this has never been done in our system for sexual violence for adults, like legally, especially like they were saying, like, this is a big case. Like people are, you know, and so when I said that, they were like, oh, why are you scared of going to trial? Like, you should just go to trial. Okay, good. And, the first, like the crown attorney, who is actually now on our board of directors for our organization, she kind of interrupted the other one and was like, Marlee, what is your dream vision for this? Wow. And like, I was just like, Angel, like, what? Who in the justice system is asking someone what their dream vision is?
Oh my God, manifested from you. That's amazing.
And that was just like such a boom, like empowerment, like, okay, I can answer that. And I told her that vision. And the other one was like, well, this is not how the justice system works. And then like Kara, who is like team yes, was like, well, like, then let's change it. Like, this can be Marlee's legacy. Like, this is what we'll do. And they kind of went back and forth for a while. We left it with them kind of being like, push pull. And we left, and I was like, how did that go? And the lawyer was like, that was pretty epic. And yeah, I want to say too that like in that meeting, one of the things that this like it's kind of hard because I'm not allowed to say certain names like legally, so that's why I'm like, this person, the first person
person
like the yay crown and the nay crown.
Yeah.
So the nay crown was like first she was like, oh sweetie, don't you understand that rape is bad? And I think that speaks to that narrative you were saying of some people are like, I don't get it. Like, this is so bad. How does she want this? And for me, I'm like, yes, I think it's so bad that we have to consider something different because what we're doing isn't working. Like, this is still happening. It's still happening. And like my vision is like, just the way my brain and my spirit works is like, if my assailant were to have kids one day, do I want those kids to be raised by someone who like went to prison for 2 years or by someone who like did this life-changing therapy process and like transformative healing circle?
Wow, you're an angel. I love you. This is remarkable. Like, it's honestly remarkable. And I think the same way you do. And so I'm like, yes, this makes total sense. And so, you know, for those of you listening that are like fully brain crashed right now, like, what? I can't believe this. How did this happen? Like, I think it's literally the only way that we will change. It's literally the only way that things will be different. If we continue to prosecute people and treat them like animals and incarcerate everyone, I'm not saying that people should get away with things, but it really is so amazing that you created this and you were the first case in North America, which is a big place, to actually take this. Like, ugh, you need to write a book. I hope you're writing a book. Are you writing a book?
I think I'm going to.
Okay, good.
And you know what's so interesting about it? Like, because it feels so good to be interviewed by you because I feel that you get it. And so like I can speak in this really uncensored way. And then I can also speak in this translated way that's like addressing the statistics and showing how incarceration doesn't lead to more public safety. Like, there's these really grounded responses as well. And I have those, but I'm just like, I don't always want to speak that way. Like, I want to normalize love. I want to normalize empathy.
You're going to make me cry again. You are like, ugh, I just love you. This is great. But it's true. It's like, you know, humans, and I ask things for the audience because, you know, this platform is really for the general population, the general mass woman. It's not a spiritual woman. It's not a awakened woman. It's a woman who knows she's not really happy and she kind of needs something new. So she's looking, and I love interviews like this with people like you who you can speak English to it and it's not too out there. And I love that you said, like, I wasn't in a white robe going, Shanti, Om, you know, forgive this soul. It's like, you know, that's like just those 24 hours of you having that on your body and having to wait. Like, I can't even imagine how you felt in those moments and the thoughts that came into your mind and how your body was physically responding. So this ain't some shit, some walk down the park and it's easy because you're a kind, beautiful woman with a nice, amazing smile. If you can see her smile, it is the best smile ever. You know, it's a journey like any kind of process and healing. So I want to see if you can touch on, so you got to this place. How was he, like, this whole time? Do you know, because obviously you spoke to him, but was he just worried that he was going to go to jail? Was he angry? Was he puzzled by your request to do restorative? Like, how was he, if you could speak to that?
Yeah, so I mean, I want to acknowledge that like I had no idea, because there was so like he was a stranger to me, and there was so much illegalities around like you do not talk, like you're the victim, you're the perpetrator, you're here. And I think that's an important piece to say, because like again, like for people who are feeling a lot of rage about this, one of the most satisfying ways to like feel and express our rage is to express it to the person who hurt us. And people who either don't report or they do go to the punitive system, they don't get that opportunity. Like they don't get that opportunity to express their real raw emotions. And that's something I did get by doing this. Like I have to be like, you fucking, like I almost took my life because of you. Like, you know, I got to like pour my heart out. So I feel like to answer that, we would have to like jump to the circle, which I can do. Yeah. So I guess I just want to say, before jumping to the circle, I just want to say like one of the best moments of my life was like actually just receiving the phone call that we did get restorative justice. Because there was like, we left that meeting and then it was like, okay, push, pull, we'll see what happens. And then I got this call from my lawyer like 2 months later that was like, and I had no idea. And he was like, they said yes, like Kara, the yay crown, like fought for you and you're getting restorative justice. Your assailant is starting therapy right away. When you are both ready, you'll meet in this restorative circle. And
wow. Oh my gosh.
I actually called my mom right away, and we were both just bawling. And to me, it was the most clear transmutation I had ever witnessed in my life, of like the realest hate, like the deepest violation turned into like the highest fucking love, like changing the justice system, like bringing making the justice system fit my heart, rather than me shrinking myself into this like dense system.
Wow. That is remarkable.
Yeah, it was so empowering. And just like my inner child self who was like, what? The world is supposed to be loving. Like, I was like, right. Like, you were right. You were not wrong to like keep choosing love, you know?
Yes. And you just even like, I remember when my first coach saying there are no rules. Like we make up these, like you gave yourself permission, or the person that you spoke to that said, why don't you, shout out to homegirl and German homegirl in Portugal for being like, hey, check this out. Like, why don't you just create it? Because that's, I think, speaking generally for women, it's something I feel like we put rules on things and things don't happen because we don't think they can. And so the fact that you spoke out and the fact that you requested it, I mean, you have nothing to lose. You asked for it and you manifested, of course you did, for your story and all the content that you need, manifested Crown Yay to be like, what is your highest vision? Like, of no surprise to me that you had her. Of course you did. Like, we are so guided in every part, right? We get what we need, but it's just so incredible that that's how it worked out and that you got what you wanted because you were so courageous enough to go and ask for that. Like, you created that. That's amazing.
So then, I can jump to the circle and explain. So basically after I got that call, there was like, for me, like a 4-month period where I just traveled and was like in celebration mode. I was like, anything's possible. Women can do anything. Like, so I just felt amazing. And then about like 1 month before the circle, I was like, okay, holy shit, like this is terrifying. And I want to acknowledge that too. Like at the end of the day, we're talking about how to deal with rape. So it's never going to be like perfect. And in a really, really ideal world, we don't even have to talk about how we deal with rape. So I was still really scared. But when we met in the circle, your question was like, what was happening for him? So he described, this is pretty like crazy universe, divine orchestration as well. He described that like right after this rape happened, he actually repressed it. Like he was like, just repressed it. Wow. And when, this was really hard to hear too. Like it was such a roller coaster to hear him say this. And for a bit I was like, oh shit, like I made the wrong choice. Like you know. But basically, yeah, so he repressed it. And when the police came and knocked on his door, he was like, what the hell? And he felt quite victimized. Like he was in a cell for a night and he was like, I don't deserve this, like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it got to the point, I think that part of him was aware that something was off in his language, like something was off. And he started to feel worse and worse, but he didn't really know why. And for him, it got to this point of like, he wanted to kill himself. And he described this moment of like looking out over his friend's balcony and like considering jumping. And basically, he didn't really acknowledge what he had done until this woman, who is now his girlfriend, actually, this woman in his life, who she wasn't his girlfriend at the time, she was sexually assaulted. And she came to him and she was like, this happened to me last night. Like, this is my fault. She kept saying, this is my fault. And he said, like, so he ended up having to support her. And he said to her, it wasn't your fault. And right when he said that, he described this. It was like all his memories unlocked. And he remembered the whole night. He remembered how terrible it was. He remembered how fucked up it was. And he, like that in the circle, that's like, he said that, he described that. And then he looked at me and he was like, I'm so sorry. I sexually assaulted you. There's nothing I can do to take it back. I hope that being here today can help. And keep in mind, like, he was in therapy for months as well, before this circle. But when he said that, I did not even know I needed that so much. But I describe it as like a knot untied in my stomach, and I just like burst into tears. And it was such a deep relief, like 1,000-pound weight off. And I was like, I don't know if every survivor wants this, but like in that moment, I was like, I wish that for all of us.
Wow. That's huge. And it's huge for you, but also for him, like for him to be able to get himself through his own discovery and healing to that place where he wasn't being forced to apologize or, you know, being punished. He had his own awakening of what he did and his behavior and how that affected another human being and how he doesn't want to be that person, and how all of this is so like put like pieces, like synchronicity. I know that sounds weird to say synchronicity in a, you know, sexual assault case, but like there's synchronicity because even the girl who he got to hold space for, it was like you in him, and he got to unlock that through the therapy that you assisted him to get. It, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like when he said that, I was like, my brain kind of exploded, and I didn't share that on a lot of interviews at first because I felt that it was like so synchronistic that people would be like, she's lying. And now I'm just like, no, this is real.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's really like, and again, like, I think it's really important to say that like people really focus on the perpetrator so much. Like they're so, even like we think about our version of justice and people are instantly like, what do we do with the guy who did it? But no one's really looking to like the survivor and being like, hey, like, what do you need? What,
Totally.
you know? And so for me, I'm like, all of my needs and more were met through this process. Like, I feel so empowered and like free. And like, I got closure. Like, even just today, I was going for a walk and I was like, I feel so happy. I just feel so happy, and I know I deserve my happiness.
Yes.
And like, that's not separate from this whole thing. But yeah, like that being said, he has really transformed, because a lot of people will be like, oh, did he transform? Did he transform? And I'm like, first of all, I feel he has. So that's like enough to me. And then also, I really think he has. Like, he stopped drinking. The language he was using during the circle, he was like embodying consent in every moment, checking in with people. it was hard for me to hear his story, like his perspective. And at one point he was like, I'm sorry if I shared my narrative in a harmful way. Like, I'm sorry if I caused more harm with the way I shared, like just really
Very responsible. Wow.
really responsible. And he had a support person there, like a friend there. He brought a friend with him to kind of hold him accountable. And so like, that means he shared with this friend. He told them about it. At one point in the circle, he said that it was really powerful because I was like, so kind of badass. I was like, you're not going to prison, so make meaning of this in the same way that I have. And he was like, I do want to help stop sexual violence. He's like, this has changed my life. Like, I do want to like help stop. And this to me is where the magic is, because I'm like, our standards as a culture are like, best case scenario, the perpetrator doesn't reoffend. But I'm like, no, best case scenario, they're so deeply transformed by what they've done that they become like a leader in their community to make sure other men don't end up there.
Yes, yes. You're so right, because not only does it weave into his life and how he reacts with his relationships, his parents, whatever, but you know, if he goes to have children, or he becomes a godfather, or he has little nieces and nephews that he can influence and inspire, like, it is huge for the evolution of humanity. It is huge for consciousness. It is not only huge for men and women, but just in general, like love in general and compassion in general. And really, it's almost like compassion the word doesn't even cover what this feeling you both got to experience, and your mom by witnessing, and his friend, and the justice system, Miss Crown being able to, like, your lawyers, like that's just unheard of. And it's incredible that you know, your heart and you were being called to do this. Like, you were always going to be here and do this, obviously, right? But like, how incredible that you played your part, and that so many people were affected, and so many people right now are being affected by it. Like, I've cried 3 times in this interview, hearing this, like the ripple effect of this terrible air quote situation that most of us would be like, that's the worst thing in the world, turns to this beautiful lesson and gift and humanity for so many. Like,
yeah. Thank you so much. There's like, it really does feel like that. And like, yeah, the thing that used to be like the deepest source of my brokenness, if I thought of it, like now I'm like, this is the deepest source of my empowerment and my like capacity to choose love. And yeah, one of the things that I want to say is like, so the very first thing we did in the circle was they said to write down, the circle keepers said to write down 3 values that we all have. One of the ones I wrote was love, and he wrote courage. And at the end of the circle, which I am definitely acknowledging was like a fucking roller coaster. Like, it was not, when people picture kumbaya and they're like, oh, restorative justice is way too soft. It's like, no, this was it. Like, this is the deep root of the wound. Like, this was hard. This was like a purge. But then I'm glad it was 8 hours, because it did transform. It did transform into this like kind of celebration of like, holy shit, we did this. Like, and I was like, you mentioned that you wanted to kill yourself. And it was probably around the same time I wanted to kill myself. And instead of that happening, we're both sitting here in this circle. And it's just like, whew, that's crazy. But I took those 2 pieces of paper that said courage and love, and I have like sitting like over there. I took them and I like pasted them onto this box. My mom had got me this wooden box like right after the rape, and I put all these like survivor quotes on it. And after this circle, I painted over the whole thing, and then I pasted courage and love on. And when I hold it, I'm just like, this is like the most tangible version of this whole story. Like, it's this whole story. And yeah, just the capacity we have to turn our wounds into like the most beautiful treasures, like, that's what I live for.
Oh my God. You need a book and you need a freaking movie. And I'm like, ugh, you need all the things. This is like the best thing in the universe. I love this. My favorite interview so far ever. Like, I love it so much. It speaks to so much about what I feel and believe and my greatest vision for humanity is like that. Like, that is like, ugh, I'm going to cry again. Okay, so this incredible experience that was difficult and hard and roller coaster and emotional. And, notice as well, listeners out there, like how long the periods are. You're saying like, so anyway, 4 months later. And I'm like, what? 4 months later? Shit, that's a long time. And so much can happen in that time. So you guys are getting this like in an hour and a bit, imagine the length of time, 4 months, a year later, 2 years. This is 3 years going on for you to finally have this moment. And now, how does this, because you've been being guided the whole time, but how does this guide you into going into the work that you so importantly do? And if you're out there and you have any trauma, you must contact her and do all the things that she has to offer. So how does this bring you into this world now?
There's one more thing I want to say ripple-wise, because I love that you brought up like the ripples of this healing. And actually, like, his friend that he brought along was just supposed to kind of sit there quietly the whole day, but he ended up breaking down sobbing about an hour in. And he was like, I've never cried in front of anyone before. I was in the military. My dad was in the military. I don't know why this is happening. I've never seen anything like this. And something he shared was like, in my 24 years of life, in my 8 years of working, 4 years of school, I've never learned more than I have today. Wow. And he was very like, you all need to share this with the world. He's like, Marlee, like, get on the news. Like, he was like, I'm high. He was kind of funny. He's like, yeah. He was like, I'm hyped up right now. Like, this needs to be shared. And it was just wild. And I say like that felt like watching the patriarchy unwind. Like, and that just goes to show like, who knows how many people have been changed that are connected to him, like his family, his father, like my assailant's friend's father, like who, I have no idea. Like, I'll actually never know about the ripples, but it makes it all worth it. It makes it like, yeah. There was a moment when my assailant said, I want to help stop sexual violence. I was like, hearing you say that has made every moment since rape worth it. And that felt like so real. I was like, I can't believe I'm saying that, but like, I feel that.
Is this something that's available, like restorative justice? Like, what's the trajectory of this now? Like, how is this evolving around the world? What did this do for the justice system from what you know in North America?
Yeah, so that kind of segues into what we're doing now. So awesome. Like after the circle, I took like maybe a month to process, and I didn't really like say anything, and it was like this intense inward time. And then I was like, okay, it was just very clear, like with the crown, the yay crown as well. Like we were like, we need to blow this shit up. Like we need to share with the world. We need to make this like heard. We need to make it the norm. So in that time we were like, let's become an organization. And basically what we're doing is we're sharing like the why behind restorative justice. We're making sure that everyone knows that this exists. So we're like this organization called Rehumanize. We're raising awareness. We're raising education. We're doing a lot of storytelling. And yeah, it's really just to focus on the why, because what I've learned is that there are a lot of agencies who do the actual mediation. And that's usually for like shoplifting or smaller crimes. But first of all, like no one knows about them. Like no one, like it took me 3 years to learn restorative justice existed, even though I was very directly describing it. But like, yeah, I want everyone to know that this exists because that is such a real thing. Like, I think it's like 5% of people report. And honestly, like, I'm not that passionate about people reporting. It's not really about that to but it's about getting like the healing that we deserve and making sure that transformation happens. But I think a big part of a lot of our healing is to like reconcile, to face the person who harmed us, to voice our pain, to like hear an apology, accountability, you know, so it's really about that to me. So yeah, we're doing workshops, we're creating a resource directory, and we're very new, so we're just growing and sharing again and again and again. We do have a documentary filmmaker who has approached us, so when you said a movie. And then the other piece of my work is that I work with women focused on sacred sensuality, transforming trauma, and like, yeah, alchemize. It doesn't have to be sexual trauma, but just like, yeah, sexual reclamation and healing. And I friggin' love that work so much. So that is another part of my life too.
Yeah. I think it's such an important part of us as women, being able to reclaim our sexuality and sensuality. And I just recently, because of all this work and preparing that I'm doing around, you know, I'm sharing, I can't share who it is yet, who I'm going to have on the podcast, but it's like about child sex and like really full on stuff. But I was able to recall a memory speaking to my mom, who's just not, she's not, available like that, but that's cool because I know who she is and I love her and that's cool. I don't need to go to her for validation, but she brought something up that really like, kind of like you said, you know, when you speak, it unlocks things that was in the, you know, deep unconscious that you didn't remember. And it was full on. And I was in the shower thinking that I did a podcast about my sexual abuse, and I shared that I'm a sexual person. Like, I'm like the one, my husband's like less about the sex. I'm like, let's have sex all the time. Like, I'm a sexual woman, right? And I identified for so many years as a sexual woman. And I said in the podcast, like, was it because I was sexually abused when I was young and exposed to that as a 5-year-old, or was I just going to be a sexual woman? And so many of my listeners were like, me too. I don't know. It's a question I have. And I realized in the shower that children aren't born sexual. Like, my kid's not born loving music. Like, they learn how to be exposed to this. And so why I'm so passionate about all of you out there, like getting in touch with her, whether you work with her or you follow her, you listen to her teachings or anything, is because there's so much confusion of women right now with their sexuality and that whore complex and all the things. And is it because of how we were raised and what happened to us, or is it that we think we're just horny people? Like, that was such a massive, mind-blowing. And 4 days ago, I got it in the shower and I was like, oh my God, I was thinking about this the wrong way. So what you're doing is so, I don't know any woman who has not had some kind of sexual trauma. And I don't, like, whatever that looks like for you out there listening, like, it's crazy important. So obviously this guided you into wanting to offer this, doing Rehumanize and then working with people. How do you work with, do you work with women, with men? How does that work?
Yeah, so I work with women. Rehumanize, we'll work with anyone.
Yeah.
These are kind of like two arms of my body.
Yeah.
Rehumanize, and we work with anyone. And then for my coaching work, focus on sacred sensuality and sexuality, that is with women. Awesome. I've been doing one-to-one coaching, but I'm going to start doing some group stuff as well. And like it's, yeah, I think because that's been like my most powerful, huge source of like grief and reclamation and healing. Like, I'm so passionate about this to the point that I will like cry or be in the best mood of my life after sessions, because I'm just like so grateful. I'm grateful to offer the work, and I'm grateful that women are doing this work.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing your journey with that as well. It's so deeply inspiring.
I'm so excited for what you're doing, and I'm excited for people to hear this story, because it's, as you said, like, it's not easy to get there, but it's so worth it. Like, everything that's happened from then until now, I'm sure you have moments where you're just like so grateful for your life and grateful for what you've done and grateful for, you know, every part that's come into it. So Yeah, how can we find you? Where? And, oh, sorry, before we go there, I just want to ask you. So you Crown Ye, poor Crown Ye. We love you, Crown Ye. You know who you are. So
Crown Ye is Kara.
okay, cool. Crown Ye, Kara. So with Kara, like you guys were like and I love this because you're like, we need to get this story out, not because like I want to be Insta famous. It's like this is a love story. This is transformation. This is like hope, all the things. So how did you, because you've been on some major publications, how did you decide like because this is a big thing to go global with, right? Like, so how did that all happen for you? And
Talked to a lot of different reporters, and I heard back from like a lot of reporters. And by the time I was like ready to share it, because basically what I did was I told them there was a publication ban until November. And mostly I did that because like I needed time to process.
good.
Yeah. And so there was like 6 articles that came out like within 3 days. And that was like BuzzFeed, HuffPost, like some big publications. And like, so it was like quite 0 to 100. And at the same time, right when these articles came out, that's when we announced that we have an organization. So it was this big kind of like thing. There's like, mostly it's been like hella empowering and incredible. There's also definitely been a journey with like, holy shit, this is a lot. And especially at first, because it's quite fresh. Like it's hasn't even been since the circle, hasn't been a year. So yeah, like I remember when the BuzzFeed article came out, there was like 500 comments that were very internet troll like, oh, you were drinking, you deserved this. And also like, you're a menace. This is one that got repeated a lot. You're a menace to all women because you let a rapist walk free. And that was the one that just like, I heard it once and I was like, that's bullshit. But when I heard it like 200 times, I was like, oh, and it really, I had like a big breakdown with that. It was just like, this is all a lot. But I don't know, I feel very, like, I know how to love myself. I just know how to love myself. I've like worked really hard to cultivate those tools to like regulate and ground and like anchor in love and calm my nervous system. And so I'm like, this feels amazing right now to share this. Like it doesn't, none of this interview has felt like, ugh, you know?
Yeah, that's good because we don't want to be, oh, yeah. I'm like, I love too that like so many of the women that I serve are like stopped by their family to share their story or social media. Like when my husband died, I did like a video about my life and like how your video, and it's like, you know, his photos are in there, and it did go like, oh my God, what if his family comes and tells me, how dare I share their son? And I'm like, that's my story. And so I really honor you as well because I can really imagine and feel that it would be hard to not make him feel like this big bad villain because you continuously are talking about it, but also, right, like also being like, but this is my story and I need to share it. And it's such a beautiful story, and you're so respectful with both of how you both met in the circle. But I just think it's great to watch you shine because you're giving so much permission to so many women and humans to just take this route of, you know, compassion and love and looking for another answer, and not just the conditioning of jail time and locked up and this other world that, you know, that seems to be the only option, or we don't say anything. And so I honor you because you've been able to share it so publicly, and obviously it's not easy. But yeah, I think that stops us so much from sharing our story and the social media and other people hearing it. And so it's really beautiful that you were courageous enough in your love to talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah. And I want to say like, I probably received like 300 beautiful emails from like survivors who are like, I needed to hear this. And at the same time, I probably received like 1,000 comments from like internet trolls. And at the end of the day, like I do not care about the internet trolls, those survivors. I'm like, this is so important. Like I did have to share this. And I've gotten pretty good and badass with boundaries of being like, I just poured my heart out. I'm not in the mood to like debate with someone who thinks I'm a fluffy.
Yeah. So how can we get involved in supporting you? How can we support with the Rehumanize, with the doco? How can the people listening support you and get involved in that work with what you're doing?
Yeah, beautiful. So with Rehumanize, our website is rehumanizemovement.com. We're always happy to have volunteers. Of course, we're not doing workshops in person right now, but we're offering some online stuff. So definitely look at our website. And we are a nonprofit, so donations are always deeply appreciated, and that helps us to make impact. In terms of my personal like sacred sensuality work, if people go to marleeliss.com, I actually have a free 3-day masterclass right now that's like all online, open to all women. So people go there, marleeliss.com, they'll find it, and then we can be connected. I have a Facebook group, the Crown Attorneys in my Facebook group, which
yay.
Really like, how epic that this like
That's
head
great.
of sex crime prosecutor is in my like sacred sensuality group.
Well, of course. Wow.
Yeah. And then like I'm on Instagram, Marlee. All my stuff is Marlee Liss, so people can find there. And like, please feel free to reach out. I always tell people I'm a human. I want to hear from you. I want to connect with you. So I'm here.
Incredible. Please also tag and share if you love this episode. Follow Marlee Liss. She's got an incredible page. I love how you stand in it. Like, I love how you own it and you stand in it in your way and your process, and just how you let us see that. So thank you so much. Also keep us updated on the doco, because that's going to be cool. Australian people say doco because they cut everything in half. ISO, doco. Avo is avocado. Anyway, I'm so keen to like talk to your mom as well. So maybe we can come back one day and do an episode, you and your mom, because like, what a story supporting that. Because there is a lot of child and healing with parental, and it's so incredible. And I know you've heard it many times before, but like, thank you for your courage and your bravery and your heart. And thank you for saying yes to doing this work, not even this podcast, but just this work. Keep sharing it. Keep getting your face on people's platforms, because it's a beautiful story that we, especially right now, I think the world needs to hear more about this, because it's about possibility. And I just really honor you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you guys. My darling, we are in wild times right now. And in order for you to manage your mind and boost your immunity and be level-headed instead of panic, I want to invite you to consider online training, to consider joining a community, a sistership where you are going to be held, where you're going to be supported, where you have a safe space to unravel, and with all this time at home, you can actually better your life and work on yourself. Good news as well, I have now done a 12-month payment plan for the online sisterhood. So many women right now are experiencing trouble with their finances, losing their jobs, being single mothers, not knowing when their next money or paycheck is going to come from. And we are navigating that with our current sisterhood members. We are working with every woman that we can in order to support them in these tough times. And I hear you out there saying, I'd love to join the sisterhood, but I can't afford it. I can't afford 6 payments. So what I've done is made it a year-long program. It's a year-long program with a year-long payment plan. I really want you to consider if this is the time for you to join the sisterhood and work on yourself. It is available to you now. Let's do the damn thing. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate your ears, your time, your energy, and your attention. Please do me a favor and head over to Apple iTunes, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, share this episode with a sister who you know needs to hear it, and if you feel called to, leave me a review. I'd love to know what you think about the podcast. I'd love to know how this information is helping you change your world. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there are many podcasts you could listen to, and I really appreciate you listening to mine. Have a gorgeous week, honey.